The holiday season is peak season for evictions.
There's still a high need and a lot of folks in our community struggling.
Colorado's Lindsay Halligan doesn't have to fumble through the prosecutions of President Trump's enemies anymore because a judge says her appointment was illegal. Pressure mounts on Colorado's governor to release a key ally of the president, including a threat to the governor's life today. Are the owners of the new women's soccer team bluffing about leaving Denver?
I hope that Denver Summit stays in Denver. Denver Summit.
I hope to stay too, because we love bringing you next. The holiday season stretches families financially. About a third of Coloradans already struggle to pay for health care, food, or housing. And the holidays are traditionally a time when Colorado sees an increase in evictions. Our Angeline McCall starts us off tonight with that.
Across the metro, there are difficult decisions, harder if you're a renter.
But there's still a high need and a lot of folks in our community struggling.
Marissa Molina with the Community Economic Defense Project says eviction rates remain high at a time when resources are more limited, like rental assistance funding.
And resources are tough, I think, particularly as we see federal policy changes threaten so many of the social safety net programs, whether that is SNAP or rental assistance. Those are all, and the weakening of fair housing enforcement, all of those things make it much harder for people to stay in their homes.
Across the city and county of Denver, we've seen just under 14,000 eviction filings so far this year. Those numbers are slightly lower than last year, when we saw around 16,000 for all of 2024.
This decrease obviously is important to celebrate, but it's not enough to show us that there's a significant change happening.
The data comes after the 2025 Colorado Health Access Survey, revealing that 11.3% of people couldn't afford their mortgage or rent, and a third struggled for other basic necessities, meaning people will often have to make a choice between things Molina says shouldn't have to be options.
Program, we're seeing still a massive influx of people coming into our office asking for support. So we know that there's still a high need in our community for this support.
Still important to keep in mind that these numbers are drastically higher than pre-pandemic levels when we saw just about 9,200 eviction filings in the city and county of Denver. So they've almost doubled, Kyle, in the last 6 years.
I feel like we have heard, though, that rents are decreasing in Denver.
Yeah, we've been talking about that. And coincidentally, what's happening is that we're actually seeing those rents decrease at faster rates in these more luxury buildings. So people who would typically struggle to make rent aren't actually seeing those decreases that other people are seeing in the metro, which makes it really hard, right? When you have one group saying, oh, actually, my rent's lower, or I've been able to find better rent. And then you have other people saying, I'm in the exact same position I was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, the folks who are really feeling squeezed. Angeline McCall, thank you. Even the legal experts who expected Colorado's own Lindsay Halligan to muck up the prosecutions of President Trump's enemies have to be impressed with the speed at which it all imploded on her. A judge today tossed Halligan's two big cases, not because of her alleged bungling, but because the judge says that she was illegally appointed in the first place. Halligan had never prosecuted a case when President Trump picked his former personal attorney to prosecute former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. Halligan is an insurance attorney by trade. She grew up in Broomfield. She went to college here at Regis, and she was a finalist for Miss Colorado USA when Trump owned the pageant. Today, a federal judge said her appointment was an illegal move to avoid oversight. A different federal judge had already raised major issues with how Halligan was handling those cases, and Halligan had acknowledged in court that the Comey grand jury never saw the specific indictment that led to Comey's prosecution. Halligan was brought in because the last U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia did not think that the case was strong enough to prosecute Comey, and the statute of limitations on that case was running out. Comey's team says this now means that case is dead. The White House says they'll appeal. Still no decision from Governor Jared Polis on whether to release Tina Peters from prison in Colorado and hand her over to her allies in the Trump administration, who have called for her to be released. Trump applied more pressure via social media today, and a key Peters ally demanding she be freed is calling for Governor Polis and other state leaders to be executed. Governor Polis, who's a Democrat, had previously resisted calls that he pardon Peters' felony convictions for a scheme to sneak into Colorado's voting systems while she was Mesa County clerk. But Polis has not said if he will comply with the Trump administration's recent request to hand Peters over to federal authorities. Trump today posted on social media, quote, "Free Tina Peters, who sits in a Colorado prison, dying and old, for attempting to expose voter fraud in the rigged 2020 presidential election." Polis is being urged not to release Peters by a bipartisan group of county election clerks and by Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser, whose office helped to prosecute the case against Peters. Today, Joe Oltmann, a conservative activist and podcaster who is a close ally of Peters, called for Polis and Weiser to be executed.
I think all these people should be tried for treason and hung. I think Jared Polis should be hung. I think Jenna Griswold should be hung. I think Phil Weiser should be hung. I think they should hang by their neck until dead.
Tina Peters has served 1 year of a 9-year sentence. She was convicted by a jury in Mesa County, and the Republican prosecutor who put her away is also asking the governor to keep her in state custody. So it's certainly not new or novel for rich people who own sports franchises to threaten to take their ball club and leave town. The Broncos got what they wanted from Denver at Burnham Yard after they suggested they might become the Lone Tree Broncos. Recently, the owners of Denver's new women's soccer team said they're considering other locations outside Denver. To understand their calculus, our Marshall Zellinger looks at the math.
Turning undeveloped land into a women's soccer stadium takes lots of money. Santa Fe Yards, the dirt lot just south of I-25 and Broadway, is supposed to become home to the Denver Summit women's soccer team. The owners of the team will pay for the stadium itself. The city is supposed to provide $50 million to buy the stadium land and build out roads, sidewalks, drainage, and other city infrastructure.
How can we transparently on city council, if we're appropriating money over, I want to see the funding agreement.
Except the city council committee delayed that agreement earlier this month when council president Amanda Sandoval wanted the city and team to show its work on the math.
I did not go into committee with any intention other than asking what I thought were basic, simple questions.
After Sandoval helped delay the funding agreements, the team put out a statement saying it's engaging with other jurisdictions outside Denver.
That's our opportunity to ask questions, and I didn't ever think it would lead to what it has led to.
Here is what the team and the Denver mayor's office want to happen. The city would provide $50 million to the special metro district that manages this plot of land, which will use the money to build out the infrastructure around the stadium. As property values rise from the development in this area, 90% of those new property tax dollars would stay with the special metro district. The city would only get 10% until the year 2042, when all property taxes would be paid out normal again.
For all of these, you require stadiums, and stadiums are not cheap. So these special projects have to be funded by this kind of financing.
You don't need to be the head of DU's real estate and construction management school like Vivek Shah to know developers and owners of sports teams want the best deal possible.
Rich people build stadiums. Can't rich people afford to just do it?
They can, but no developer would like to pay for infrastructure costs that are upfront.
Shocking. I want to talk about the property tax breakdown one more time. The property owners there already pay property taxes and will continue to do so as the property values increase. Where those property tax dollars go will change for a period of time. I'll just use some basic numbers here. Essentially in 2017, let's say your property taxes were like $100 and that goes to the city and Denver Public Schools. They'll get that same amount for 25 years. Anything that goes up because of the development there, that will then be split 90% to the developer, 10% to the city. Kyle.
I could have used a chart.
My hands are supposed to do that.
Yeah. No, I understand. No, it's important, and at the end of the day, what people want to know is it a real threat to leave, or isn't it? And also, with respect to this new team, they're not the Denver Broncos, right? So the leverage is going to be a little different.
But I will say, whatever agreement gets put in place by City Council for this team gives us insight into what the Broncos may ultimately ask for in paper, because the same process is going to have to happen still for the Broncos to move forward Burnham Yard.
Just a lot more zeros. Yeah. Marshall Zellinger, thank you. President Trump is expressing opposition to deregulation in the local TV news business, despite that being a stated priority of his hand-picked FCC chair, Brendan Carr. Trump's surprising announcement on social media Sunday has the potential to impact the proposed deal for 9 News and its parent company Tegna to be acquired by Nexstar, which owns Fox 31 here in Denver. Trump's post, in all caps, No expansion of the fake news networks, adding, if anything, make them smaller. Nexstar, the largest owner of TV stations in America, is asking the FCC for a waiver on the cap limiting broadcasters to owning stations that only reach 39% of Americans. The FCC is also considering eliminating the cap at the urging of media companies that say deregulation is needed to compete with large tech companies. The proposed acquisition would give Nexstar twice the reach that's currently allowed. Nexstar has said that multiple stations in the same city would be combined. Trump often insults journalists and media outlets as fake news. When filing for government approval for the proposed acquisition, Nexstar said in a statement, quote, "We are the anti-fake news." After Trump raised concerns about media deregulation over the weekend, a statement from Nexstar mirrored language used by the president and his allies, criticizing the quote-unquote legacy media, coastal elites, and again proclaiming Nexstar the anti-fake news. I got to thank you. You came through big time for a bunch of small food banks in Arapahoe County. Your latest Word of Thanks microgiving campaign has raised about $55,000 that will be split among 9 small food banks that feed our neighbors from Littleton to Sheridan to Aurora to Inglewood to Bennett out to Deer Trail. 4 weeks now, we have focused solely on fighting hunger in Colorado. And you have raised more than $300,000 to make a big dent from northern Colorado to the metro area. It is just the latest act of generosity in your $16 million worth of microgiving over the last 5 years. As always, if you have an idea of a nonprofit in your corner of Colorado that could use help working on hunger issues or something else entirely, I love your ideas. Email next@9news.com, or you can text thanks or text us at 303-871-1491. A district court rules that Denver's strip club entertainers are putting in real work and deserve to be compensated. Some counties are looking for new emergency alert systems after customer data was stolen in a hack.
I think it helped him kind of brighten up a pretty dark day, getting a cast on your arm that you have to deal with for a few weeks.
You get a lot of attention when you're a kid in a cast. I imagine you get even more when a kid in a cast and tattoos. That's next. Don't try to rip off a stripper in Denver. That's the warning from a district court that ruled entertainers are employees under the law and are protected by the city's wage and employment laws. This comes after a Denver auditor's wage theft investigation into a couple of strip clubs in the city. Lawyers for the strip clubs tried to stop the investigation, argued that dancers were licensees and not employees and therefore were exempt from certain city wage and employment laws. A hearing officer ruled against the strip clubs. They appealed. A district court judge has now upheld the hearing officer's decision. The strip clubs are appealing again. The auditor's office is also trying to get Diamond Cabaret and Rick's to pay nearly $14 million in wage theft restitution to more than 200 employees. Some counties in Colorado are ditching the Code Red mobile emergency alert system after a cyber attack caused it to go down earlier this month. Cities and counties across the state use Code Red to send out mobile alerts about natural disasters or public safety advisories. The system does not send alerts to the entire county automatically. It requires users opt in and create accounts to get alerts. After a lengthy outage earlier this month, leaders in Douglas County and Weld County said Code Red has now confirmed the system was indeed hacked. Whoever got in there got usernames, addresses, emails, phone numbers, and passwords. Both counties say they've taken steps to end their contracts with Code Red and find another alert system. It's a good time to mention, if you have Code Red and you use the same password for that and other sites, change it.
The sun has set on another warm, dry fall day, but changes are coming. Temperatures this afternoon running way above average in the mid-50s and lower 60s. We will be cooler tomorrow as a weak front passes tonight. It's a dry front, but it's producing some gusty winds over the northern and front range foothills that extend down into the central mountains. This dry northwest flow aloft is going to transport a couple of weak little weather disturbances over the state tomorrow and Wednesday. Enough that we could see a little bit of light snow in the northern and central central mountains, but Denver stays dry and the foothills stay windy. High clouds will pass by from time to time, but generally a quiet week of weather. Things change for us at the end of the week. Right now, the snowfall accumulation maps are not all that impressive, but come the end of the week, we have a shot at seeing accumulating snow in Denver and a really cold weekend coming up. Tonight, temperatures are comfortable. Tomorrow, we look great. How about Thanksgiving? Sunshine in mid-50s. Friday looks great. But next weekend, potential weather impact alert for Saturday and Sunday. Highs in the 20s and 30s. Chance for snow with overnight lows in the single digits and teens.
Getting your cast signed? Yeah, that's the old way of doing it. Getting it tattooed? That's what the cool kids do. A tattoo artist's kind gesture next. It's not our business what people get tattooed where, but a 4-year-old in Centennial got some ink recently, and he's not ashamed to show it off.
And when he originally got splinted after breaking his arm, he did not want to keep it on. I'm Kelsey Rush, and this is Trenton Rush, and he's 4. We actually met Nate because one of my coworkers gets her work done. So we gave him a call, and he said, yep, absolutely, bring him in for some artwork.
And they had the idea that if he's going to have to wear a cast, you got to keep him kind of distracted or something to brighten it up a little bit. I'm Nate Stevens. I'm a tattoo artist and the owner of Golden Pony Tattoo here in Centennial, Colorado. I immediately had some empathy because I have 2 small kids too, and I know it had to be a real difficult thing to go through. He wanted a Ninja Turtle. So you have to ask everyone what their favorite Ninja Turtle, who their favorite Ninja Turtle is. And his was Raphael.
Raphael. And what else is on there? What's this? Pika.
Never on a cast. Definitely first time on a cast.
My husband and I didn't really know what to expect from him. His reaction, he was kind of fascinated by all of the artwork on the walls.
It would only take a few minutes of my time, but it would make a rough day for them significantly better.
One of the artists there showed him that he actually had a Ninja Turtle on his leg, and he was like, whoa!
I didn't realize how much a grown man could be into Ninja Turtles, but we were all pretty excited about it.
It went from being a really difficult process that morning getting casted at Children's to then kind of an exciting thing for him.
I think it helped him kind of brighten up a pretty dark day, getting a cast on your arm that you have to deal with for a few weeks.
Just getting to, have essentially a warm hug from the community is kind of what it felt like, right?
Usually my clients are a little older, a little more subdued, but to see a little kid's excitement for something that took me a minimal amount of time, but we'll be with him now for weeks as he carries through with this.
We made like a full turn where it went from needing to, not want this on to then he was like, this is so cool, Mom, I don't want to ever take it off.
Oh, what a fantastic gesture. I love that. We'll see if I love your feedback next. Thank you. The most Colorado thing we saw today is a quick cowboy nap in the great outdoors. We used to call this catching a cowboy 30. Steven sent us this photo from Eagle Trail near Boulder Reservoir. It looks like the dude just kind of got tuckered out, decided to snooze for a bit. I don't know, maybe the horse has taken him home safely after a midday beverage. I'm no horseologist, but I am not sure that it is ever advisable to put your face that close to a horse's rear end. But he appears quite secure up there. If you see something that looks like Colorado to you, email it to us, next@9news.com, or text us 303-871-1491. Rebecca didn't like the fact that I pointed out that the Broncos are a far bigger financial franchise than the women's soccer team that's coming to town. She said, "Did you wake up on the misogynist side of the bed this morning? Take it back." It's not misogyny, it's just reality, right? The average NWSL franchise is valued at $105 million, and the Broncos are valued at $7.2 billion. Those are 2 different universes financially. See you next time.